Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. It's a little bit cold out today. I need to go throw some pants on. I'm wearing shorts at the moment. It should be like 70 degrees. It's like 50, not fun. Bringing back that March temperature. But without further ado, let's talk about My Hero Academia Season 5, Episode 10. So you're going to have Class 1A versus Class 1B yet again, and you're going to have this kind of crazy thing happening with All for One and One for All going on. Let's talk about the Class 1B characters first. So one of the Class 1B characters, we'll start with Nirangikai Shota. He has the ability, it's called like dual impact or twin impact. So if he strikes something or hits something, he then has the ability to hit it again several times harder. So you can, it's kind of like a stockpile quirk is the best way to describe it from Class 1B. Moving on to the next character, we have Yu Kodai. Her ability is size, so she has the ability to make inanimate objects bigger and smaller. She cannot use her ability on actual human people. Moving on to the next character, we have Nito Manoma, which we also know as the copycat guy. He has the ability to copy people's quirks for 5 minutes, which is going to be really, really good for this episode because they have Shinzo on their team, whose abilities I've talked about several times. He has mind control, and he's going to copy Shinzo's abilities in order to try to knock out everybody and just beat the crap out of them. So Shinzo is on this team as well, and then we end it with Rico Yanagi, and she has basically psychic abilities. So she can levitate things and make things move. However, the inconvenience of her quirk is that she can only lift as much as a normal human would. So a lot of her lifting abilities are small objects, screws, pieces of metal, just kind of minor irritants. But she can also make them go flying very fast, which would basically mean it's got the speed of a bullet. And we all know how much damage a little bullet can do to somebody. So that's your Class 1B. Going on to Class 1A, characters we pretty much already know at this point. We have Mina, whose quirk is acid. Uraka, whose quirk is, lifting things up, gravity. We have Deku, which is, one for all. We know his abilities. He actually gains a new ability, which we'll talk about momentarily. Then we have Mineta, who has his sticky purple balls. So we start out this episode with kind of All Might talking with Gran Torino about, the Vegestes of One for All. And he was talking about how his past successor said that she heard like a dream that said it isn't time yet. And then All Might realized that, at some point it's going to be time. We don't know what time it is yet. And then that kind of hangs up. And in this process, we have Mr. Copycat going after Deku, trying to, get him to talk, because at this point he has copied Shinso's power, so he's trying to get Deku to talk, to capture him. They realize that he is the biggest threat, similar to how Bakugo was the biggest threat last episode, and that if they can get him out of it, they'll have a little bit easier time taking care of the rest of his teammates. So that's what they set up to do. It doesn't work, and then Deku is just getting angrier and angrier and angrier in his own mind until the point where he gets a new quirk. That's right, Deku got a new freaking quirk this episode. It's called Black Whip. I'll throw up an image of that on the screen for you as well. And we get to meet another previous successor of One for All. And he actually talks to Deku after Shinzo finally mind controls Deku later in the episode, and what that ends up doing is allowing him to see a previous creator of One for All, explaining that, our quirks are also within One for All, meaning that every successor of One for All that also had their own quirk, Deku now has the ability to use that quirk as well. He mentioned that there is 6 other quirks inside One for All as well. So basically what that means is Deku is going to have a grand total of 8 quirks in his body. So we know Black Whip, we know One for All, and now there is 6 more, which we do not know what these abilities are yet. But Black Whip he was not able to control, and even the past successor said that, hey, look, it's okay to be angry. It gets you strong, it gets you pumped for the fight, but you also got to be able to control and keep that anger under control. And he's like, the quirk isn't going to be like when I had the quirk, because now you have the combined stockpiling power of One for All on top of it, making my quirk 10 times more powerful, or maybe 100 times more powerful, who knows, than it was when I originally had it. So you are going to be the first one that is, able to use this ability. Deku can't even talk in this state yet, kind of trapped in his own mind. He doesn't have the ability to because he hasn't mastered One for All yet. I think as he masters all of the quirks, maybe his head will show up, his feet will show up, and eventually his entire being will show up, and he'll be able to talk to all of the past users of One for All, no problem, but that's probably a very far way away, because I believe he can only use like 20% of One for All's capabilities right now, so we get to see like his feet, like the upper half of his head, his nose is even cut off, and both of his hands fully. I don't know if we saw, I think we might have only saw one of his hands fully before, so he might have gotten a little bit better. But the problem is his quirk gets massively out of control, starts destroying everything, ruins both 1A and 1B's plans. All Might's getting worried. He's like, hey, Aizawa, you might want to put a stop to this, because this is going to become a major problem. People might get hurt. Deku even tells Shinzo and the copycat guy, run. Like, I cannot control this. I don't know how bad this is going to hurt you if it hits you. Freaking dodge, get out of here. And they do for the most part. Uraka, it was kind of a nice heartfelt moment with Uraka and Deku. Uraka jumps in there. We get to learn about some of Uraka's past, that she always saw her parents. They were very tired, but she was happy. She saw, a hero saving somebody. Her parents' faces both kind of lit up like a Christmas tree. Her face then lit up like a Christmas tree because she was happy to see her parents happy, which is, that's really precious. And she jumps in there trying to save Deku, gets her mask knocked off, and she's just like, you gotta calm down, you gotta calm down. And then she Shinzo, which she yells at him, say something to get Deku's mind under control. And then he does, which ultimately leads to Deku seeing a past user of One for All. We get to see All for One a little bit in this episode as well, so I think there's some sort of Harry Potter, Voldemort connection going on there. Voldemort, Harry Potter had, Deku and All for One have this connection as well, because he was like, I can hear my brother's voice. So that was slightly concerning. A little bit concerning. All of the employees were like, can we just kill this guy already? He's super dangerous, he shouldn't be alive, but he's got to go to trial still. So there's really nothing they could do about it until the whole trial process takes place, which was kind of interesting, because that's kind of how sometimes the real world works too. Sometimes the trial process can be very long and dragged out, and while yes, justice does ultimately come down, sometimes it takes a long time for it to get fully implemented. Moving on from there, Deku's quirk finally gets under control. We get to see the preview where it looks like maybe Deku is going to start trying to learn how to use this Black Whip quirk that we are not particularly familiar with yet, of how it works. I mean, it goes flying. Apparently, it's very good for catching people. It's basically like he's shooting whips out of his arms, like whips/ropes. They're kind of more like energy beams is the best way to describe it. And of course, they have Deku's kind of little green hue to them as well, which I thought was pretty neat. But it looked like it was the same for the original user of the quirk, so maybe that's just a coincidence. Who knows? Maybe that's just an anime exclusive, the way they want to do that. I'm not really sure. But then all the other team members of Class 1B jump in. Copycat jumps in. I was like, oh, look, I'm going to take this opportunity to take you out and keep it going. And then it's basically an all-out brawl. So we haven't really seen an all-out brawl yet. Everything's kind of been planned out. There's some sort of plan going on, decoys, etc. Different teammates going which way and what forth, kind of some one-on-one battles. But this is now just an all-out brawl. So we got 5 against 4. We don't really know who's going to win this battle. I think Deku, maybe if he gets a hold of his quirk, he's going to probably, KO all 5 of them in the same shot, I would guess. I think that would be something interesting to see Deku kind of figure out how to utilize this quirk. And it generates from his arm. So even if his arms are useless, if he can generate the quirk from his arm, then it won't matter. Because then, he's got 8 giant freaking rope whip things coming around that he can use to wrap people up and slam them into things. I'm guessing is how the quirk is going to end up working once he actually gets master control over the thing, and he'll be able to just knock everybody out. But who knows, maybe he'll lose control over it again. There is a possibility that Aizawa may have to use his eraser quirk. I might have to get some of the pro heroes in there to stop everything from happening, because they don't want anybody seriously injured, because they're training future heroes. They can't train dead bodies. You know, you can't train dead bodies. I'm gonna give this one's probably 8 out of 10. I feel like I've been giving a lot of these 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. This one's a little bit higher because we get to see a little bit more of the background. You know, we got to see All For One, a little bit of his backstory, a tiny bit. You know, Uraka definitely being a great supporting character in here. And then Deku getting a new quirk ability as well. And it's exciting that he has 6 more that he's going to have to learn as well. So he's actually has kind of similar abilities, if you think about it, to All For One, because now he has the ability to use multiple quirks as well. We don't know why All Might never had the ability to use Black Whip, or maybe he did and we just never saw it. Not really sure. Or maybe Deku is, you know, he's got a better connection to it. We don't know. So, I mean, there's a lot of instances for One For All that we still have to learn about, which I'm sure we'll get to learn a little bit more about in the next, what do we got, like 14 episodes, 15 episodes left? I think 15, because I believe we're getting 25 altogether. So keep in mind, next couple of episodes, there may be a break in the middle as well, but we'll just have to wait and see how everything pans out. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and feel free to comment down below what you'd like me to do for future anime and cartoon related content. And as always, have a good one.